Share sponsor Luinish Mas. I'm Yaakov Shalom now Basitzchok. We're holding in Bava Kama Daf Yud. We'll starting with a Testamud base towards the bottom. The Gemara brings here a brisa. The brisa says, the brisa comes now and brings a summary almost of the different office Nezikin and the difference between them. What's the chaymer? What's the severity that some of us have over the others? So the Gemara says the following: Tanu Rabbanon. Chaymer b'shor mi-bebor, chaymer mi-bor b'shor. Shor, as Rashi and Toys point out, the shor they're referring to over here is Karen, specifically Karen. Karen is more chomer than the bor, and then there's a chomer that the bor has more than the shor. Chomer b'shor mi-bebor, shor mishalim misakayfer. Shor pays koifer when he kills an adam. He pays koifer. If he kills a slave, a shor, there's a special karas called 30. It's called a shloshim selah that you have to pay. That applies only to shor. Another chumrah that shor has, that once he killed somebody and went to Beis Din, now you're not allowed to enjoy and benefit from this shor going forward. And it's normal for it to go out. It works. It's refers to the fact that it goes out of his mazik. All these things, Mashen Kiribor. Bor doesn't have all that. They don't have the tashlumi that we mentioned. And it doesn't have doesn't pay koifer, doesn't pay shloshim. It's not also ba'noah. And doesn't work. Choyim bi bor bi b'shor. Bor is more chomer than shor. Shabor tchilas asiyah shel nezik. The bor starts as a nezik, right? Because it's right. It's not enough to go somewhere to do the nezik. Where it is right now, as it's being created, it's already a nezik. Right away it's mud. Mashen Ketshor, it takes 3 times to get to it. Now, just to point out that many of the Rishonim and Tosfos discuss over here, why are we bringing some chumras that we have and not all of them? So the Tosfos, for example, brings, Tosfos says that why don't we mention, we spoke about kofer, why don't we learn for sure that you have in kofer, for example? And then it says, it brings different makayros to it. And the Rishonim were discussing, trying to understand why some chumras we mentioned, some don't mention. Which chumras are mentioned here or not? The main theme of the Rishonim is to say that all the chumras are included in these. Whatever the Gemara is mentioning in this brisa includes every chumrah that this av has. So if you don't know if there's something missing, that means it's included in one of the chumras that we mentioned. Okay, let's go on to view the Mudal. This is the Gemara. Chor b'shor mi beish. Shor is more chomer than fire. Chor beish b'shor, something the opposite. Chor b'shor mi beish. Shor mishalim koifer. Again, pays koifer when he kills an adam. V'chayav b'shloishim shlevet. When he kills the heaven, you have to pay the shloishim. Nigmai dinoi oso bano. Once the nigmai dinoi, you're not allowed to enjoy it. Masru the cheresh straight to the kartam chayav. We give the cheresh to the kartam chayav, as we learn in the end of yesterday's daf, that if you give the shor the cheresh to the kartam, becomes is chayav. Mashein can beish. Eish is different because by eish, first of all, you're not chayav in all the tashloim. You're not also bano afterwards if it burned. And if you give it the chesher to cotton, you're not chayav, as we learned in yesterday's daf. In choy beish b'shor, eish is more common than shor. Sheesh when mitchilaso, eish right away becomes wood. Mashein can b'shor. That's the one thing eish has more than shor. Choy beish b'bor, eish is more common than bor. Choy bor beish. Choy bor beish tchilas asiyah also nezik. Bor starts as a nezik where it is. It doesn't have to go anywhere. Masru the chesher to cotton chayav, as we saw before, as we saw in previous daf. Mashein beish, eish is not, doesn't start on nezik. And if you give it the cheresh of katan, you are potter, as we learned in the previous daf. Choy beish v'yabar. That is a chumrah of eish over bar. Sheesh darko leichol azik. The eish goes to burn. Umred is leichol ben dobo haroylo or ben dobo she'ein roylo. And it can burn things that it's proper to eat, things that are not proper. Mashein k'yabar, bar is not like that. And what way do we say that eish burns things that are proper and not proper? So Rashi says, Rashi wants to say that the the things that you have over here, which is improper for the Eish, Rashi already mentioned it before, is, for example, Tamun. Tamun is something that you putter in Eish. You putter in that thing. Toy says doesn't like that because Toy says Pturim, something that you putter on, is not considered to be Ein Roy. It's Roy. You could burn something which is, for example, hidden. Because you're not having it. It doesn't mean that you're not putter. It doesn't mean it's not Roy. Roy means something which is not supposed to happen. So let's see as the Gemara builds it up, how we explain these words of the Gemara, that something is not a Roy. By Eish, you chayav in something which is not proper for it to burn, and bor is different. So first of all, the Gemara says, why don't you say that shor is more in the bor? Shor chayav bo is a kelim. Mashein kelim bor. Shor, if it was mazik, a vessel, is chayav. If it went and gored a couch. But bor is not chayav in kelim. Hamani abid is mechayav in his kelim bor. So the answer is, we're going to your court, Rabbi Yudo. The whole you do chayav in his kelim bor. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yudo, in Masef, look at the end. Eish goes in his mazik, we just mentioned that Eish eats something which is roy, not roy. Right? Davar roy l'mani. What's the more now? It says what we mentioned. What's roy? To eat eitzim. Davar she'en roy lo. What's not roy to be eaten by a fire? Mind you, kalim. Meaning that's not something. So the more now understands what's not proper to be burned by the fire. Something that you're not supposed to put in the fire. You put in the fire wood. That's normal for the wood to have fire. The fire to consume wood. But kalim, you don't put vessels into the fire. Mashenki b'bar, the what? The bar does things fall into the bar, include everything. Sorry. So you want to say Mashenki kalim that don't belong to the bar, like the shor and chamor, the walk. As the Meshech Chochmah says, right? The shor and the bar don't really see where they're going. They see straight ahead. They don't have the knowledge to analyze the pit in the middle of the street. But the kalim not supposed to fall into a bar on their own. So that's why you putter in it. So you want to say, so you want to tell me the bar is not chayav and kalim. By Amar, you just said you just said that we're going over here, like a Yehuda that holds you do have a kalim bar. So what does it mean that the Eish eats davar roy is chayav and davar shen roy, and bar is not chayav and davar shen roy? And that's why kalim, which is not supposed to be in the bar, is putter, but fire you chayav and kalim, even though it's not supposed to be in the fire. So if so, why don't you say that also by the difference between shor and bar is that shor is chayav and kalim and bar is putter? So more Tana v'shir. You're right. We should have said that, but the Tana is b'shayr. My shir, the shir. We always have a rule. Whenever the Tana is leaving something out, so then you have to leave something else out. What else you left out? So it's more shir tamun. When shir tamun, that the fire is when it burns something which is concealed, you putter. And other things you chayav. Right? That's something where it says over here. So the Gemara is concluding according to this here something Gemara that we're talking about here according to Yehuda the Yuchayav and Kalim and bar. According to Abba, the Yuchayav and Kalim and bar. And in Chinami, that's one of the things. That's the differentiation between Eish and bar. The Eish is Chayav and Kalim, even though it's not royal, and bar is putter and kalim when it's not royal. It's not considered to be proper for it. If I say another explanation, really it is a Rebuta. The double shein royal when it says something which is improper by bar, by Eish, lav lasuy kalim. I'm talking about vessels. El lasuy licha niroy v'sichsecha avodim. It's going to tell you if the fire consumed the near. The near is when you plow in the field, the ditch that was created, that's the near. So the fire consumed it, and then it ruined that hole, or since it made the stones black, like it burned into the stones. So that's something which is not right. So so Mashenkin what? So what does the Gemara say? When we talk Kalim is not, that's not what we're referring to. Kalim may be something which is Roy. Let's say there. But in the case of so what's in not Roy? Now Roy means that it's literally not Roy, it's not the proper thing for it to burn. It's not normal for it. That's not the normal thing to do it. It's interesting because one way to just connect it, the pshat is, how do I define something which is not Roy? What the Torah told me is not Roy, or just physically is not Roy. Usually fire doesn't affect land, doesn't affect stone. It's not, that's a physical not Roy. I'm talking about Kalim is the Torah tells is not Roy. So that's two ways to understand. Most of the good thing talk about physical not Roy. So why bar is not Roy for stones and Adama? So Torah says that the way Rashi learns it based on the Hemshech Gemara, that you're not shaykh to have a hezek of karka. It's not possible. Land cannot fall into the bore. Right? You have to have something walking. You can't have the plow fall into the bore. That's what they say. So says the Taisis, why have to speak about this? Speak about anything which is not moving. House. The bore cannot ruin the house. Fire can ruin the house. Anything which is stationary, a bore can't do. Only fire. So why do you mention this? So he says, so that's what Taisis points out what we just said. That it's not normal for fire to really ruin stones and earth. And if it did happen, it's something completely irregular. Mashenkin bar, as we learned earlier, when a bar is 9 tfachim, it does nezek, it doesn't do misa. What happens if someone fell in the bar of 9 tfachim and died? You're potter. Why? You're not supposed to die in 9 tfachim. An animal walks and falls into a pit of 9 tfachim, is not supposed to die. And if he did die, or something irregular happened, you're potter. That's the chiluk. Eish, if it does something irregular, you're chayav in it. Bar, if it does something irregular, you're potter in it. That's a route Tais explains the chiluk of the Gemara. Says the Gemara, I have another thing that Shor has more than Bor. Shor with his mazik psulam mukdash means an animal that was a carbon that became pasul. Like a bchor. There's not every carbon is like that. Talk about psulam mukdash, for example, like a bchor. That a bchor, it means something was kaddish merech, was born kaddish, and then it has a mum, so it becomes psulam mukdash. You have to treat with it with some respect. You can't do it with everything normally, but you could shecht it. So if the shore killed Shrub Psulam Mukdashim, you are chayav. Mashenkin b'bor. Bor, why not? Because the bor is exes kasuf. That makes you give the mace, you give the nevelo to the owner. And by Shrub Psulam Mukdashim, we can't enjoy the mace. Once it's dead, that's kedusha. So that's why you know that bor is patur. So why do we mention that? You know, maybe you want to say it's we left over some things. We left over most of this. My shear, that shear, why are you missing here? What? You can't say you left out something, because what else did you leave out? So the more you did leave out something else. Shear dash beniroi. When you shire is dash beniroi, which means if the animal walked on the near is the plow, and it walked it and it ruined it. So there's another way. Says the Gemara, so that's the shear. So I have a shear that we mentioned earlier that you don't have babor. Why don't babor? So according to Rashi, Pshat is in babor because it's not possible for babor to have dash benir. It says more that's not a shear. Because as we mentioned before, there are some things that are included in other chumras. It says darkol leilachulazik, meaning it walks. It's darkol leilachulazik. It walks and does hezek. It walks and does hezek. That's what so that includes everything that it walks and does. Walks and does includes dash benir. Tell you Rashi says, what is dash benir included into? It's considered to be keren. Why is it considered to be keren? If you look at Rashi says dash benir, shin dash hashor benir kaven lekach. That was his intention. Shari hashor milumadim bedisha. It's normal for the bedisha. Told to the keren shekavanos lazik. The chayev l'shal dmei niru shekil keren. You have to pay the min Yerusha Kilkel. So he says that's going to be keren because it's intending to do a nezek, and that's why it's included in keren. One interesting Taisis over here, just to mention before we go on, is that Taisis asks. We said that the shor is chayav psul mukdashim and not bor, because how do we know the bor is not chayav? Because it says v'ameis yeloi, the mace belongs to him. So that's why it's patur. It says Tosfos, why don't you say the same thing by Adam? Why do we need a pasuk that says, we learned, right, at shor v'loy Adam, that the bor is patur and Adam. I'll tell you why it's patur and Adam. It says v'ameis yeloi, the mace belongs to the nizak. And we said, shor psul mukdashim, the mace doesn't belong to the nizak. Also an Adam who dies, the goof, the body, doesn't belong to anybody. So that's why you patur an Adam, because you can't have a misa. Why don't we mention that the reason why the bor doesn't belong to it is not chayav an Adam? Says v'ameis yeloi. That's what Tosfos asks, and Tosfos brings two answers. One is that specifically the meis yeloi refers to the shor, not to Adam. But the second answer of Tosfos, and this is a big discussion, says it does shayach by Adam, not by a Jew, but by a goy and an eved. The body does belong, is usable. The body, and this is a big machlokes. Tosfos brings over here a discussion. Do you say that a body of a goy has any din of dushas mace, has anything of a dead body that we treat with respect, and we're not allowed to use it? Do we say that a body of a goy or not? So Tosfos says over here that you don't say that by a goy. I mean, a body of a goy you can use, and the Tosfos brings the shittas and argue. Says the Gemara, Chshadi makes as niskor. So the Mishnah says, if I did a little bit of the nezek, I have to pay the whole thing. What's the case? If I did, I have to pay the full nezek as if I did the whole thing. What's the case? There is a bar of 9 tefachim. So you have there nizikin. Comes another one and adds one more tefach. Makes it the 10 tefachim. The last one is chayav. Why? He transformed the bar from being a 9 tefachim bar to a 10 tefachim bar. So he changed the most of the bar. Now he's chayav and everything. Even on Ezekiel, that the first one was chayav. He's chayav for adding one more tefach. And this we'll get to. This is the Gemara L'Kamon. The Gemara is going to speak about it. And we will see more the source of it. And this is how the one who did 10 tefachim created a new shem bar, and he's chayav the whole thing. So even though he did only one tefach out of 10, he's chayav for everything. So that doesn't go like Rabbi. The Tanya tishu ba'acher v'ishtimu la'asar. Someone did a bor, there was bor 9, someone had one more tefach. Ha'charoin chayav. The last one is chayav the whole thing. Rabbi Yoimi ha'char acharon l'miso, ha'shneim l'nizikin. Says the last one is chayav for miso, because he added the one tefach that created miso. That Rabbi agrees. But l'nizikin, no. Only the both of them will be chayav l'nizikin. So our Mishnah that says that one who did only a little bit of the nezek is chayav the whole nezek, that's not like Rabbi. We talk about miso, and everybody agrees you go based on the last one. Maybe this our Mishnah is not like Rabbi. We talk about miso, meaning the one who dug 9 tefachim is not chayav on the dead, a person who died there, because he did only 9. The one who did 10, even though he did only one tefach out of 10, he's a chayav in miso. So he did part of the nezek, but he's chayav the whole nezek. That's the pshat in our Mishnah. So now I said, why we have other cases. Why you specifically speak about a board? The board's going to bring the beginning of the case. The board's going to bring is a svar. L'chora, this will work over here. The board is going to say no. You can't say that svar. What's a svar? He gave his short to 5 different people. And one of the 5 shomrim, caused the short to do ezek. Was not guarding it well. Chayav. That person is chayav. So you see, one is chayav for the whole thing. So well, that doesn't work. Why? What's the case? If without this person, the shor will not be guarded, pshito, he didn't. Without him also be nishma. My kavit, what is he doing? Meaning, it's not doing something small. Is he the shomer right now? He's not the shomer. When you have 5 shomer over here, are they guarding it together? You don't really need 5. So this guy didn't do anything. Elamai said this guy is the one who's specifically responsible for the east entrance. Okay, so then he did the whole thing. He didn't do partial. Our Mishnah says someone does partial, have the whole thing. So okay, I guess that case is not good. Let's be another case. Someone who adds more fuel to the fire. It puts more wood, makes the fire stronger. So the Gemara again, what's the case? Says the Gemara that you do in base. Without him, it will not walk. Pshita. He made it. He did the fire. He did the whole thing. Without him, it wouldn't work. Michael, he didn't do anything. So again, that's not a good case. So more about two cases miswar. One says these two cases, it doesn't work for our Mishnah. The time we have the following brisa. You have 5 people sitting on one bench. Now this is a brisa, it's not a svar. This is when we finish a brisa. So now we can't just say this is not true. It's a brisa. What does brisa say? You have 5 people sitting on one bench. They did not break it. Then comes one and sits in and breaks it. You have 5 people sitting on the bench, nothing happens. Comes the 6th guy and sits, boom, it breaks. The last one is chayav. What's the case? Papa bar Abba is calling himself Papa bar Abba. Papa was very fat. Very, very, very fat. So he says, it was someone fat like me, a heavyweight guy. He sat down and he broke the bench. Says the Gemara, hey Chidam, again, what's the case? How do you understand now the brisa? It's a brisa. How do you say the brisa? Without him, he went to break. Pshita. Of course. I mean, he broke it alone. He's not doing partial. Without him, also break. What did he do? So we're asking a question on Tzvar. What about the brisa? How do you explain the brisa? Without him, it would break in 2 hours. And here, because he's so heavyweight, he made this. You could sit on this bench for 1 hour and it won't break. But when this heavyweight guy came, he made it break within an hour. They tell him, they say, without you, you would get up. Now you came here, you caused the break right away. So that's why he's responsible, not because he did partial, he did the whole thing. Says the Gemara, why? Why did he do the whole thing? You should tell them, if you won't be with me, it will not break at all. You will help me break it, so I'm together with you. Says the Gemara, he leaned on them. He did not let them to get up. This heavyweight guy came and he made them not get up. Of course, he did the whole thing. How the table he didn't sit in it. He just leaned in it. So maybe leaning is not like doing your thing with your body. Any power that comes from your body has a din like your body. That's the chiddush. Wherever your body breaks, so also the koyach breaks. So that's what the Gemara says. Here, there's a lot of shittas here. We're showing him several shittas how to understand the maskana of the Gemara regarding the case of the bench. And just to mention 2 options. When we're saying over here that he leaned in them, do we continue to say the 1 hour and 2 hours or not? So we should learn, the pshat is, we continue with the idea. Without him, it would break in 2 hours. Now that he came, it breaks in 1 hour. So, but he made them not get up. So now, him, together with the other 4, they broke it within 1 hour. So everybody together was responsible. But he made them not get up, so he's responsible for what they did. The way the Vilna Gaon, the Agora over here in Rashi learns, no, the Gemara now changes it back. The Gemara said 1 hour, 2 hours. I'm going to forget about 1 hour, 2 hours. It has nothing to do with 1 hour, 2 hours. These guys will never break it. But the case over here is that this Real Papa, this Papa Barabba called this fat guy, only because of it, he broke. And the chiddush is, that's the chiddush, the koyach gegufay, that the fact that you didn't do it directly with your body, do it with your koyach, you're still chayav. Says the Gemara, V'tu leika, that's the only case we have. Just want to mention one more thing. Tosfos says in Amud Aleph, you see from here, a bench, a normal bench, is something that should be, it's open for the public to use. It is open for the public to use. So therefore, what is the Gemara saying? We're saying that if not the papa is a fat guy, you can't tell someone not to use a bench. It's a normal thing to use a bench. If he's very fat, he causes it to break, then you have a tie in it. But if not, and it broke, it's like a mesa machas melacha. It's the normal way of usage. You can't have a tie on that. Second one, Tuleka, that's the only case you have. And have another case. What's the case? You got the tiny of the Bryce, because you have 10 people hitting somebody with 10 sticks. It doesn't matter if they did it in one shot or they did it one after another. If it mates, he died from it. They're all a potter. Because none of them did a full misa. If it's one after another, the last one is chayav. So he's the one who did the misa. So even though they hit him, 9 people came and hit him, boom, 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 boom. The guy is like almost dead. Came the last one, gave the last punch, and he killed him. So he's the one who's chayav, says the Rebbe Meseir. Because he's the last one who did that, he brought him to death. So it's more bekatul lekamar. We're not talking about misa. That's answer. If I say more bepluktu lekamar, I know it's become machlekes. Machlekes if the last one's chayav or all of them chayav. Kulam pturim because none of them is chayav because none of them did a full misa. So more veloyo kaminan the loy we said not like Rebbe regarding the case of the board. Says more the loy Rebbe karabono not the selak Rebbe selak karabono which is Rabbi Mukvino. Rebbe didn't say loy karabono loy Mukvino. But the selak Rebbe Meseiro was a Shitas Yachid. I don't want to say to explain our Mishnah that the little bit of an answer we're talking about the 10 sticks and the last one we hit. That I don't want to say. Now, just to mention over here, this is a sugi on its own. We're going to get to it a little later in the Masechta too. But just to mention, the Rashba says we're talking about 10 people with 10 sticks. What happens if you have 10 people with 1 stick? Meaning they all take one big stick and they kill them with that stick, like one beam. Says that but then they'll be chayav. Because then it means these 10 people killed them with one beam. Here we talk about each one did a separate makro. Each one hit him with another stick. So none of the sticks alone did misa. Together they cause misa. Oh, so you have over here combination of a few. You don't have one who's responsible. But if it was one misa of 10 people, then you are responsible. And there's more to talk about. But we'll leave it for when we get there to come on. The more goes on, it says chavti b'tashlumi niskoi. Once you pay tashlumi nezek. So the more chavti b'niskoi l'ktani. It doesn't say chavti b'niskoi. Ela b'tashlumi niskoi. You have to be mashla. Mashla means to fill up, to add. Tanila Torah, you see from here we learn tashlumi nezek milamed shabayli mitapli benevelo. See from here that the owners, the nizak, the one who got damaged, he needs to take care of the nevelo. So what does it mean? You have a shor that goes and gores another shor. You have an axe goring another axe. You kill the axe. Now, the axe that was killed was worth $200. Now, the nevelo, I said nevelo in English? It's a word I don't know so well. It's the nevelo, the dead body of the animal. There's a word for it. Carcass. The carcass is there. And that's worth 50. You don't say that the one who damaged will pay the 200 and take the carcass. You take the nevela goes back to the original owner, and all he has to pay is the 150. So he says, you had an axe worth 200. Now you have only the nevela which 50. So what I paid was 150. What I damaged was 150. So that's the shluin. You're mashlim. You fill up what's missing. So we know that. Once we bring 3 psukim are sources that the original owner, needs to take care of the nevela. It says so that if an adam, a human being, hits an animal, has to pay it. I'll decree to pay it. You'll fill it up. So you have to fill it. Rav Kahana another pasuk. Im torif yitoref yaviyeyu eid. Hatreif lo yishal. So we're speaking about here a shomer, a guard, shomer sacher, was guarding the animal, and he got hurt. There was a treifa. How the treifa? So you go darshan. If you aid, you darshan. Hatreif lo yishalim. You don't read the way the pasuk is written, but you read take the words aid the treifa. You say ad the treifa yishalim. Treifa absolutely yishalim. You pay up to the treifa without the treifa. Chizkiyahu Malchi brings the third pasuk. When you have a shor that goes a shor. He goes to the nizak. He's going to pay him, and the mace will be to him. Who's to him? To the one who got hurt. Goes to the nizak. Means it goes to the one who the damager. That's not true. Why is that true? If the veil belongs to the mazik, belongs to the mazik, just say, you have to pay for the short. Why have to add the words? I would know. I would assume the mazik has to pay the whole thing. The actual words of the Torah is telling you that the one who pays it, the nizak takes care of it. Same with tzricha. I need all these psukim. It's not common. That an adam will hit a beimo. So what happens? You just pay the difference. Of a trade for the shchicha by a shomer, then the animal was eaten up. Emo, then it's shchicha, maybe you can't just pay it up. You have to pay the whole thing. Tzricha. Here's been trade for mishum demi. Trade, he didn't do anything. He was a shomer. Came another animal and ate up this animal he was guarding. So he didn't do it himself. But when he's hitting an animal, he's doing it with his own hands. Maybe not. Because not shchicha, because he made it. But Amesi Eloi that it is shchicha, meaning by shor going ashore is shchicha, and beyadayim mean the animal is doing it. So maybe then you have to pay a full payment. That's what you have to have. Yes, Amesi Eloi we should do the kamazik. Amesi Eloi his mom did the nezek. But the first two cases is him, meaning either because he hit an animal or because he did not guard the animal well. So maybe then you can't just do hashlomo. That's why you need all three psukim. So that's why you know that you need all the psukim. All the cases, the original owner takes care of the neveil. So I've kind of asked Rav, and time of the kosvach one of Amesi Eloi. Not because the Torah said Amesi Eloi. Halama even with the same Amesi Eloi. How about me neveil the mazik avo? You want to tell me the neveil belongs to the mazik, the one who the damager. We learned, at least according to one shita, it's a machlekes in yesterday's daf, it's a machlekes Rav Huna against Rav Huna Brei Div Yeshua. But at least according to Rav Huna Brei Div Yeshua, we know that you can pay with anything. The mazik can pay either money or meitav, or if he wants, he can give him anything that he owns. He can give him needles, he can give him books, he can give him nevelis, he can give him dead animals as a tashlum. So that's what it says. If he himself, if the damager, he has kama trefers, he has several trefers, he will give it to him. As we learned before, according to Rav Huna Brei Div Yeshua. Here's mashma a little bit like the Rishonim that say that we paskin that way. That's the riff that Tosfos mentioned yesterday's now. So mashma a little bit like that because the more brings us lower question. You could pay with subi. Tosfos wanted to say that Rav Huna argues we're not paskin like Rav Huna. But in any case, what is the Gemara saying? So of course I can give him his own nevelo. So what is the chiddush? Chiddush is the axe of Reuven gore the axe of Shimon. So the nevelo of Shimon goes to Shimon. Of course, Reuven can give Shimon whatever he wants. So the more So the more no, I'll tell you the problem. What happened if in between the time of Goring and the time that they went to Beis Din, the nevelo lost value? Then what happens? The nevelo lost its value. The value used to be 50, but now when you get to Beis Din, it's only 30. Who pays for that? Do you say that immediately when the behemoth dies, it has to go to the nizak, or you say? Or you say that, no, not immediately when it dies, it goes to the nizak. You can pay it. Paying me when you come to Beis Din will say, okay, you need to pay $20. Let me give you your nevela. Oh, the nevela is worth now only 30, so that's only tashma 30. If without the puzzle that says Bailim Metabadim Nevela, I would say that you use it as a payment only once you come to Beis Din. But if you didn't come to Beis Din, until you come to Beis Din, it's still not a payment. The chiddush is that immediately when it died, the nizik needs to take the animal, sell it, and take that money for himself, and then do the cheshbon with the mazik, because right away it goes to the nizak. Just end over here with 2 points. One point is it's a very lumdish chakira that Chodim have over here, and is even according to the maskana. How do we look at the nevela? Do we look at nevela? This nevela is a tashlum, it's a payment. Chiddush of Torah is that you were supposed to do the payment even before you went to Beis Din. Right away when the animal died, you use that as payment. Or it's not payment. Its pshat is that it never left the Nizak's house. The Nizak got a shore worth 200. Now it died, it's worth 50. Okay, so the damage is 150. Not that the damage is 200 and I'm paying you 50 with your neveil. That's the chakir of the achronim. And the one that say maybe depends on what we're showing. One of kamina will be, let's say there's a chance that it will get better. Let's say there's a chance, we're going to speak about later if a shore is still alive, if there's a chance it will get better. If the pshat is, I'm not responsible for what happened because this is yours. The damage is what I did. Whatever is left is nothing to do with me. So then it's nothing to do with the mazik. But if the pshat is it's a payment and the nizak is at fault for not selling it immediately, if there's a chance that the value will go up, the nizak has a taina, I don't want to sell it immediately because it would go up. And maybe the damage continues. That's an akudah chakira. We'll be able to get back to that. Just want to conclude the shir with a beautiful idea that it's brought down in the Arizal says over here. The Arizal has a small sefer on Shas called Likutei Shas. And he says that what it says over here, Mixas Niskoy, refers to something very esoteric. Just to mention, in 2 minutes this will end. It says like this. It says, in Gilgul Neshamas, there's a concept of Ibur. What's Ibur? Sometimes you have a person with a Neshama, and a Neshama from a previous generation comes into the body and joins the current body. There's 2 Neshamas in the body. That's the reason. So the Arizal, why have a Gilgul Neshamas? Because the Neshama from a previous generation has Nisyanis, it has to take care of it, has to fix something he did. So its challenges that it has is challenges that will always be for that neshama, not for the neshama, for the original neshama. For example, he says the neshama that came to Gilgul ate chaylev in the previous generation. It comes now to the world to fix it, so it's going to be challenged to eat chaylev. The original neshama doesn't have that nisayim, but the new neshama does. And let's say the adam will eat the chaylev. Who caused it to eat the chaylev? The neshama that came by Gilgul. Not the neshama that was there before, because he has the challenge. But everybody enjoyed the aveira. So that's called ichshaiti b'miksas niskoy. I was partial responsible for the nezek, but I paid for the whole thing, because without that neshama that came with Gilgul, that challenge would never happen. Continues that reason and says, that's the bailim tapal aveira. What does it mean? When the body is buried in the adama, there's something called havla de garmi. The neshama has to take care of the body. There's some kind of neshama in the body. That's a maluz. That's what Chesamesim comes. Which neshama takes care of the body? The original neshama or the neshama that came to Gilgul? The original neshama. Habaylim metaplim benevelu. So we talk about here, according to the Arizal, the Sugi is talking about it. You have your 2 neshamas. You have a neshama called the mazik, which caused the person to do aveira, and you have the original neshama that owns the body. The original owns the body that needs to get paid. How to get paid? With the Gan Eden that belongs to the neshama came to Gilgul. But it doesn't take care of the body. The body's being taken care of the original neshama. They are satiric things, but the reason says in Mamish here in the Sugya to explain this Ma'alach. So I just wanted to mention it. Say the going away side.